Witches creak in doorless chambers, and strange and frightening sounds echo through the halls. Whenever candlelights flicker, where the air is deathly still, that is the time when ghosts are present, practicing their terror with ghoulish delight.
To tell your Halloween story to George Noory, call the Wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. West of the Rockies, call 800-618-8255. International callers, including Transylvania, may reach George by calling their in-country Sprint access number, pressing option 5, and dialing toll-free 1-800-893-0903. This is Coast to Coast AM with George Noory.
Let's go next to Rob in Manchester, Iowa on the wildcard line. Hey, Rob, welcome to the program.
Well, happy Halloween, George. How are you doing?
You too. Great, thank you.
And I suppose St. Louis must be the place to be right now, huh?
They are going wild. I mean, this whole weekend from Friday on, they haven't stopped. And, of course, Tony La Russa, the manager of the Cardinals, has announced his retirement. So he goes out on top. But I've got to tell you, Rob, the city just went nuts. And then yesterday they had a special party down, a little event just to welcome the World Series champs. And they must have had, gosh, I would guess 1 million people. I don't agree with the specific count, but the place was jammed.
Well, congratulations to the Cardinals and all the fans. I'll tell you, that was a great series.
It was. Texas, too, did a great job.
Well, I guess you want to hear a ghost story tonight, don't you?
That would be great.
I was born and raised in a small town in northeast Iowa, and I worked right out of high school for a couple that owned a restaurant bar in my hometown.
Okay.
And the bar owners, they were kind of what you call like a May-December couple. The man, I'm going to call him John, he was an older gentleman. And he also worked at a large manufacturer outside of the hometown. And unfortunately, John passed away from a disease shortly after the birth of their only child.
Oh, geez.
After John's death, the widow, she decided, she sold the business, she sold the house, she moved out of state. So that's kind of the start of the story. We're going to fast forward to about a year from that point.
Okay.
At that time, a real good friend of mine and his family bought that house. That was owned by John and his family. And my friend and I were sitting on his couch there, and from the vantage point in their living room, sitting on the couch, you could see the front door. And as we were talking, I heard the front door open and close, and I just glanced over to see who might have come in. And what I saw, it still just sends a chill up my back. Standing right there in the hallway was John.
No.
He was standing right there. Yes, he was. I could see him well enough to see he was wearing a navy blue slacks. He was wearing a white button-down shirt. He had a gray windbreaker. It was about the same outfit he wore every day as the foreman in the factory where he worked. And I just noticed something else too. He was there, but he wasn't really there. You could see the door behind him.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where I knew obviously I was looking at a ghost. And what happened was that he just silently set his lunch pail down on an entryway table. He walked towards us just up to the hallway, and then he turned down the hall. And that was all it took. It seemed like it took an hour, but of course it was only a few moments. I looked over at my friend to see if maybe he saw, what I had seen. And when I looked at him, his face was just as white as a sheet, so that kind of answered my question.
I'm convinced that these apparitions somehow tap into energy, and they can replicate themselves intentionally or otherwise. And there they are, as plain as day.
And that's exactly the way it is, because when I was asking my friend, did you see what I just saw? And like I said, my friend had never met John or anybody in his family, but he described to me John exactly as I saw him, with the color of the clothes, even up to the part in his hair. He described exactly what that spirit looked like. So I knew that I wasn't the only one looking at it. And then what happened was that I kind of mustered up a little bit of courage, decided to walk down the hallway where he had gone. And first door there I opened up, walked in. They were using it as a home office at that time, but I walked into that room, and as you could imagine, it was freezing cold in that room. You could see the breath come out of your mouth. My friend noticed how cold it was, and the other folks in the house, they walked in and they were commenting on how cold it was. No spirit, no apparition, nothing. It was just freezing cold in that room. And after I thought about it for a moment, I realized why that room was so cold, because that was the room when John owned the house. That was the nursery for his newborn son.
That was it. That's a great story, Rob. And there's got to be something that is connected to the spirit world and the incredibly low temperatures as well.